What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I know it's been a little bit of a minute since I've had another YouTube video for you guys, and I told you that they were going to be once a week. They're definitely going to be back to once a week, but with everything that was going on with the Black Lives Matter movement, I really just want to respect the muting and just letting people who are people of color kind of speak out during that week. So that's why I didn't have a YouTube video, but I will be having more YouTube videos for you guys in the coming weeks. So this one's very special because this is a topic that a lot of you guys have been asking me to cover, and it's how to start tracking macros. Let's say you've never done it before, you are really interested in it, you really want to start. How do you start it? So we're going to cover exactly how to get started so you know what to do, and you can really, after watching this video, get off on the right foot. So the first thing you want to ask yourself before you start counting macros or start figuring out your numbers is, what is your goal? This is a really, really important question to ask yourself, because if your goal is to lose body fat, you're going to want to start at different calories than if your goal is to grow muscle. So really ask yourself what your goal is at this time. If you want to lose body fat, you're going to want to be in a deficit. A deficit basically just means that you're eating less than you're burning in a day, so that way you can lose some weight. If you want to grow muscle, then you want to be in a surplus. A surplus just means you're eating more in a day than you burn, so that you gain weight. And if you just want to maintain where you're at, then you would eat at maintenance, which basically just means you eat about the same that you burn in a day. So first, again, ask yourself what your goal is. So what if you both want to gain some muscle and lose some body fat? If you were a client of mine, we'd sit down and look at kind of what you've done recently and where you're at and see what would be the best plan of action for you. But if you do not have a coach right now and you're just doing this on your own, and you do want to gain some muscle but you also want to lose some body fat, you just have to kind of sit with yourself and really ask yourself, one, would I be okay with gaining more body fat if I decided to go into a surplus right now? And two, how much body fat do I have to lose? If you do have a lot of body fat you want to lose, I would definitely just start with the deficit, because you can build some muscle in a deficit when you are a newbie to lifting. However, if you maybe don't have too much body fat that you want to lose, maybe you want to just focus on lifting heavily and really just kind of eating towards your maintenance or surplus in order to grow some muscle first before you decide to cut down. The reason being, if you cut down and you don't yet have a muscular foundation, especially if you're starting from not too high of a body fat percentage, you're just gonna kind of feel skinny at the end of your cut. You're not gonna feel lean or toned that a lot of people are looking for. You're just gonna feel kind of like the skinny fat that people talk about. So if you wanna feel, lean, toned, muscular, all that good stuff, you probably wanna start out with building some muscle first. So again, first thing you want to do, write down your goal, figure out what it is that you want to do. If you want to lose body fat, you'll be in a deficit. If you want to gain muscle, you'll be in a surplus. If you want to maintain your body weight and just kind of go from there, you'll be at maintenance. Now what do you do? Second thing that I want you to do is figure out where your intake is right now. So what you're going to do is track out an entire week of eating. I want you to go from Monday to Monday, tracking out everything that you eat in MyFitnessPal. MyFitnessPal will tell you the total calories that you've had for each day of that week. Now, you don't have to get too carried away with this. If you don't know the exact calories for something, that's okay. Just eyeball it, estimate if you have to. It's just kind of give us a good estimate of about how many calories you're eating. What you're gonna do is take all those numbers throughout the whole week, add them all up, and divide by 7. So that's going to give you the average of the week. This is the average amount of calories that you ate every single day. That's gonna tell us where you are right now. So let's say, for example, that you decided that you want to lose body fat, but the average turns out that you're only eating 1,200 calories. Well, in this kind of scenario, we actually want you to reverse diet, because a deficit means you have to eat less than you are eating now in order to lose weight, right? So eating less than 1,200 calories is not something that you want to do. It's not healthy. It's not good for you. It's a no-no. So instead, you would want to go in the opposite direction and actually increase your calories. What this is going to do is increase your metabolism, so you start burning more in a day. You actually can lose some weight on a reverse diet, and you're going to set yourself up at a much better spot for when you actually do decide to start a deficit. If this sounds like it's something that you're going to need to do, definitely go and check out my old YouTube videos. I have a ton of information about reverse dieting, or if you want somebody to bring you through it with you, do a ton of coaching for reverse dieting as well, so you can find that down below. If you go through your entire week and you find that you're eating a good amount of calories, you're not eating too little, not eating too much, then you can start from there. From those calories, you can either decide to go up for a surplus, down for a deficit, or stay where they're at to maintain your weight. Now, all of this is assuming that during that week that you track, your weight doesn't change. If you know that you pretty much have not been changing your weight has been pretty much steady, then whatever you come out to, whatever that number comes out to, the average for the week, that is going to be kind of like your maintenance calories right now. If it turns out that you have been, gaining weight during this whole time, that average for the week is going to be a little bit of a surplus for you. If it turns out that, you have been losing weight while you're eating this amount of calories, that average for the week is going to be your deficit. For the remainder of this video, we're just going to assume that the average that you count for that whole week is what you've been maintaining out for the past couple of weeks. You're not losing weight, you're not gaining weight, you're just kind of staying around the same. So we find out what that caloric intake is. Now again, this is when your goals are going to come in handy. So if you want to be in a deficit and lose some body fat, you're going to cut down your calories anywhere from 300 to 500 calories. If you want to go on the other end and do a surplus, you can increase your calories anywhere from 300 to 500. If you want to stay at maintenance, you can stay where you're at or move them up or down about 100 to 200 calories in either direction. So this is your starting point for your deficit or for your surplus. Now you have your calories. What do you do with that? Because as we talked about in the beginning of this video, this is for macros, not for calories. One thing that's really important to point out is that your macros come from your calories. Each macronutrient has a caloric number to it. So fat is 9 calories, carbs and protein, each gram is 4 calories. So your macros will add up to your calories. Even though you're not counting calories, you technically are when you're counting macros. So whatever the number comes out to that you decide, let's say for the sake of this video, it's 1900 calories is what you come out with. Now you have to figure out how to set up your macros for these calories. First, we're going to start with protein because it's kind of the easiest to explain. For your protein, you're going to take your body weight, whatever it is right now, and multiply it by 0.8 to 0.9 times your body weight. Now, a lot of people will do their body weight times 1 and do that in protein. You actually don't need to do that. That's a little bit too much protein for a lot of people. The real equation is 1 times your lean body mass. Your lean body mass is your body weight minus your body fat. Now, a lot of people don't know their body fat. I personally don't know mine either. So that's why the 0.8 to 0.9 times your body weight comes in handy, because it gives you a nice little range for you to use in terms of where your body fat might lay. So the leaner you are, the closer you go to 0.9. The less lean you are, the closer you'll go to 0.8. You can go a little bit lower than that too. You could do 0.7 times your body weight if you maybe have a higher body weight and it's really hard for you to hit 0.8 times your body weight in protein, because it could add up for some people. But for the most part, you want to stay anywhere from 0.8 to 0.9 times your body weight for protein. The second macro that I like to set is fat. I like to keep a majority of my clients around 30% of their calories towards fat. This just seems to be one of the best ranges for a lot of my clients. You could go a little bit lower than this and you can also go a little bit higher. So really it ends up kind of just being what you prefer. Your fat can go anywhere from 25% to 40% of your calories. I like to stay around the 30% for myself. Some of my clients a little bit lower, some a little bit higher. It really depends on their bodies, how they're reacting, all that stuff. But as long as you're anywhere from 25% to 40% of your calories towards fat, then you are good to go. So your question is probably, all right, I have 40% of my calories going towards fat, but how do I figure out how many grams of fat that I need? Well, what you're gonna do is you're gonna take whatever amount of calories you had, let's say that 1900 calories that we're talking about, and we're doing 25% of those towards fat. So we're gonna take 1900 and we're gonna multiply it by 0.25, and that gives us 475 calories. Then we're gonna divide that by 9, because as we said before, each gram of fat has 9 calories. So we divide 475 by 9 and you get 53 grams. So in this scenario, if you were eating 1900 calories and you decided to put 25% of them towards fat, you'd be eating 53 grams of fat. And now, as we said earlier, with your body weight, you would be taking your body weight times 0.8 to 0.9, and that would be the amount of grams of protein you'd be eating. So you'd have your protein grams and your fat grams all set. Now, what about carbs? So carbs are the easiest ones to set because it's everything that's left over. Since we already know the calories we want, we already know our fat, and we already know our protein, carbs just gets everything else. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take that fat amount, the grams of fat, you're gonna multiply by 9, you're gonna take the grams of protein that you're eating and multiply by 4, add those two together and subtract it from your total calories that you want to eat. So again, if you have those 1900 calories, you're subtracting the 475 as we said earlier, and you're subtracting whatever you came out to in protein, then the rest would go to carbs. So it's really not that complicated of a process, guys, to get started. And this is really the most customized way that you can do it to really make sure that it's set for you and your body. Again, as I talked about before, please be careful and don't go too low in your calories. If you are concerned that you are going to be dropping your calories too low, please check out my reverse dieting videos and make sure that you're not doing more damage than you are good. And if you do need a coach and you need someone to kind of walk you through this process to make sure you're doing it properly, keep you accountable, and really make sure that you count macros in the proper way, then visit the link down below to apply to my coaching. I am accepting some clients right now, and I would love to bring you guys through and really change your life with macros, because it is pretty life-changing. I hope this answered your questions, and if you have any questions, please feel free to comment them down below. I'll have a video out again next week, so please look forward to that, and subscribe if you are not already. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll talk to you soon.